Mehryn, up until a second ago, Michael was going to be joining us live here. Then he hit himself, so I'm happy to say it. Happy Friday. Welcome to the fastest 10 minutes of Microsoft Teams Rooms News of the Week. I'm stumbling over myself already, Mehryn.
It's early. It's been a long week. It's okay. Welcome, everybody. Say hi in the chat where you're from. We were just talking before we joined. Our audience has grown significantly over the weeks. We are so excited to have all of you with us, especially live. You guys make it really exciting for us every morning. This is my favorite part of the week. I love it.
That's my favorite part, is to see the comments that are coming in, to be able to actually interact with people. But thank you, everybody, for all the things. Like Mehryn said, we've seen the stats. We've seen people sharing it. Thank you, everybody, that joins us every week. Mehryn, I don't know about you, but this week I went through some of the Learn articles that I like, and I noticed a lot of things have been updated.
Yeah, so Learn articles that I personally admit that I don't get there as much as I should. You sort of like read it and then you walk away and feel like, all right, cool, I'm done. To your point, these are updated. As things change, and they do change often, it's important to kind of bookmark them and go back. And they'll put little notes there to show you what is updated. So a lot happening, obviously, within the Android category. So there's a lot to keep up with.
And if you do have Android, you've got to have conditional access policies. We know that that's one of the biggest things that people struggle with the first time that they put an Android device in. Now we've got actually Intune device compliance policies. This was updated. Make sure you go look at this article. And speaking of updated, also linked from that article is an authentication best practices for Teams shared devices on an Android. It's important to actually make sure that you're referencing all of this. Make sure that you have this in your library. I know that I have actually what's called a collection in Edge, and I actually keep a whole bunch of my important articles right under there, so I can go back and sort of see what updated, what was there, and I did catch a couple of updates this week.
Good best practice. Authentication is important for sure.
Absolutely. And speaking of new things, I want to make sure that everybody understands the value of the Teams Room Pro license. And the Teams Room Pro license, one of the big things is this Teams Room Pro portal. And with that comes a management ability and update management. And I put this because I sort of stumbled around it on the Learn articles this week. There's a whole thing about how this Pro portal, it actually adds value and brings ring updates to your devices. I know a lot of our partners go and say, how do I keep my devices up to date? If you are putting the Pro license on your systems, make sure you're looking at this. Make sure that this is in your repertoire, and make sure that you're following these best practices.
It's sort of that whole work smarter, not harder. Let the tools sort of do some of this troubleshooting and diagnostics for you. And it takes a lot of the complexity out of the mix, where I think it's been a big request from customers as well as partners to sort of get in the middle there. You don't want to be the person having to manually push updates on every single room that you're responsible for. So this is a great process, a great tool, and one that we want to make sure everybody gets up to speed on.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. And up to speed on everything, Mehryn. What's new in February? Huge article. And it's the first time that I actually saw that they split up what's new in premium and what's new in non-Teams premium.
And we don't do a lot in non-Teams premium. There's so many features in premium and pro that we talk about, but it is important to keep track of, because obviously if you were standard Microsoft standard or the legacy license and you're transitioning to pro, you got to keep track of what's available in the different license types. Obviously we have basic and pro now, but you might have legacy customers that are on e-licenses that are expiring in July, but also on standard licenses that we're trying to move up to pro. So getting a good feel for the licensing landscape and all the features and availability between each of those is pretty important as a partner as well. Yeah.
I loved the new templates for meetings. I also loved some of the new devices, the Lenovo ThinkSmart One collaboration bar, the first all-in-one Windows device for Teams rooms. Crestron Flex has a bunch of stuff. Yealink also released a whole bunch of things. So Mehryn, what's new in February? This is the way. This is the way that everything works.
And I think we had a new device from our friends Jabra. There you go. We've got a nice new Jabra Speak portfolio here that is now certified as well.
Congratulations to our partners at Jabra for a whole new product line that they have. Some of these are actually certified for Teams rooms as well. So it's important to keep up on the portfolio from all of our OEMs and make sure that it's there. Also, Mehryn, if you do have a bunch of frontline workers, there was a blog post talking about, we love our acronyms, DTAS. I don't know. That was a new one to me, but deploying Teams at scale.
I cannot with the acronyms. I think I've reached my limit. Like I'm over the acronyms, but rapidly deploying at scale to empower the frontline workforce. I like how we're pulling in the different worlds of Microsoft. We're not just talking about Teams rooms all day, every day, because all these things are interrelated. It's really important to cover the whole gamut.
You know, you could actually take a lot of the things that are in this and actually apply it to Teams rooms as well. If you've got a whole bunch of Teams rooms that are going out, this actually takes an Excel spreadsheet, and then you run a PowerShell command to go out and actually empower all of those frontline workers. You could do the same thing with your Teams rooms as well. So a lot of things to your point to sort of take out and point towards Teams rooms. Also announced live video closed captioning in PowerPoint Live.
Personal favorite for me, I actually do struggle with a little bit with my hearing. So wherever it's available, I do put closed captioning on. You would be surprised, but even at home with movies and shows, it's just a default for me. So I love whenever we put all these hearing impairment things in there. It's just another, check on the list for inclusivity. So it's great.
Another one for inclusivity. And for those that don't understand my New York accent, I don't know. Sometimes I look at the closed captioning, I can't even understand me, Mehryn, but that's the way. So also this week, a whole bunch, Mehryn, you and I talk about AI for probably about 6 months now. We've been teasing this and everything else, but a whole bunch of new ways where AI is actually brought directly into Windows 11. So those that are still on Windows 10 and have not updated to Windows 11, this is an important part of actually moving to Windows 11, because this is where a lot of the AI, just to make your everyday life easier, will be actually built into it as well.
I joined several meetings this week where we're all like, oh my gosh, like we're overwhelmed. We have so much to do. And you're like, well, can AI do this for me? Can AI do that for me? And actually, like, there are a lot of things that can be done via AI, and that AI powered Bing taskbar is being put to work. Like, we've talked about it on a lot of meetings this week as a team, and it's fantastic. So if you haven't gone and tried to check it out, in Bing chat basically is where you can start to see some of those new empowerment features, and it's very cool. I'm excited to see how it's going to impact my life and how it's going to make my day a little bit easier. And I think everybody out there as well. Yeah, love the new update.
I took one of the updates that I saw on the Windows 11 side and actually brought it in here. If you are on a Windows 11 preview, you can actually have phone link. And this actually bridges sort of your personal device of your mobile and your personal device of your desktop, and allows things to actually be shared between the two devices. Mehryn, I'm really looking forward to this, because so many times I'll have both devices. One will actually ring on my telephone and not on Teams, and the other one, and having that notification actually be on all my devices and being able to respond to that. That's something that I'm looking forward to.
I think it's just a new world. We're weaving all of our devices together so that no matter where you are and what you're doing or what device you're on, you're always sort of connected. Could be good or bad thing, but I think it's great. Yeah. And
this is why we pitch Teams rooms, because no matter where you are, your personal device, your shared device, a lot of these things will be coming. Roadmap, Mehryn, it will be 60 degrees and sunny today. Teams now.
60 and sunny. I actually was looking at New York. It's pretty cold up there. I'm going to be there in a few weeks, and it better warm up for me. I'm not happy about that.
But more importantly, the green screen in Teams, this will actually take a little bit of the processing of your digital background and allow it to run a little bit better on your screen. If you have something, not like the fake wood that I have behind me, but the green screen like your weatherman and everybody that uses that. Also, Mehryn, this is really important. A lot of our OEMs have actually put a Teams button on their devices. This is something new.
There's a lot of devices out there with that Teams button. And if you're ever wondering what do I do with that? What does that Teams button do? Here you go. This is exactly what it does. It cuts out a lot of the steps and gets you right to that pre-join screen. So I think that's fantastic, especially for, I think, the next slide we're getting up on content camera, where we really can get into that.
Yeah, and it's important. You hit that Teams button on the device, and now it actually joins that pre-meeting screen. Also, like you said, the content camera, invoking that content camera, it's going to get a little bit easier. Right now, it's under the shared button, but this enables presenters to actually share the whiteboard video and more quickly during a meeting.
It makes sense, because if you're standing up there, right? If you're standing at one of the content boards and you're doing the whiteboard, you just press a button instead of having to go back to the controller to do it. Makes a lot of sense.
And buttons, we love buttons, and the Stream Deck is coming back. I have my Stream Deck here. I love this device. especially for the reactions. Mehryn, last week, actually, after our meeting, we actually had an all hands where some people were struggling with some of the reactions. They were raising hands instead of actually clapping for people and so on and so forth. Having this really is a lifesaver sometimes.
I think I'm a big fan. I was telling Jimmy this is now, we talked about it so much over the weeks. I'm like, it's now in my shopping cart. I'm in decision-making mode. And I actually also have a green screen in my shopping cart as well, of things that are on my list of maybe decking out my meeting space here. Obviously, I could improve a little bit.
we should have a referral link from Elgato at this point.
I know, right?
Has it. Mehryn, next week, Wednesday, we'll have Kim Matlock. Kim Matlock is actually in charge of, part of the team for the Teams Room Pro portal. She's going to come on. She's going to share a whole bunch of stuff with myself, Michelle. I believe we're going to have Matt Slomka, a bunch of people on this show so we can talk about really what that value of Pro is and the value that the Teams Room Pro portal brings to it.
Yeah, I feel like Teams Rooms Pro, rightly so, has been the theme of the month. And we talked about this last week, but Kim does a fantastic job. So this is a do not miss if you have not gotten up to speed. And it also gives you the opportunity to ask questions in the chat. So make sure you join this live. It is next week. Great time zone. We can catch both Americas and EMEA, hopefully. So put that on your list. Do not miss.
And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you're there. That way you'll get the information of when we're live. And Mehryn, next week, I'm going to be like Frank Sinatra, going back to New York City. March 7th, I'll be joining our friends at NEAT in the city for a special event at the MTC. Really looking forward to this as well.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of neat events on LinkedIn. So everybody, if you're having events, I think we've got Tyler in the chat from Yealink. I saw a few there. So much happening. We don't have a chance to cover all the events here in the show, but definitely share them all on LinkedIn and our Selling Microsoft Teams Rooms channel. If you're a part of that, make sure you share. Absolutely.
And our friend Michael Tressler will be down with Jabra in Houston this week. Hi, Michael. Thank you for doing everything you do behind the scenes. He's on mute. He doesn't work. I think he's
I'm on mute. Houston, whoa, hi. There is no problem. I'll be there. I love Houston.
Yeah, Houston, no problem.
My 19th favorite town.
So with that, Michael, Mehryn, have a happy weekend. Thank you to everybody in this community. Like Mehryn said, we've seen it grow. We see your comments. We see everybody that comes back to us. And we want to say thank you, everybody. Hope everybody has a good weekend. And we'll see you next week.
See you soon.